Okay, hi friends, and welcome to reading class. It is about 9 o'clock a.m. and you are joining me as we get ready to read a new story. So I'm going to get that pulled up and I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so the title of this story that we will be reading today and into next week is Perseus and the Fall of Medusa. Okay, so the genre of this story is a myth, okay, and it is a Greek myth which is told in the form of a play. Okay, so we're going to talk about elements of drama. We're going to look out for text features and a lot of things, but today what I'm going to have you focused on is just going over the genre, the critical vocabulary, and then you're going to read this on your own and answer some really simple questions. So let's dive into it. So like I said, this is a Greek myth told in the form of a play. Okay, so what is a myth? Well, a myth is an ancient story that may be about the idea of good versus evil. Okay, that's nothing new for us. But also, really quickly, I wanted to talk about how it is told in the form of a play. Okay, so a play is a type of story that can be performed for an audience. Okay, so here it says plays use lines of dialogue to reveal the plot. Okay, this is where there's lots of people talking back and forth to each other. Dialogue, we will point out, okay, when we start talking about dialogue next week and when we start talking about the elements of drama. Okay, so just look out for those times in which you see characters speaking to each other. That is called dialogue. Okay, that is the conversations that they are having within the text. Okay, then also it says please use stage directions to help set the scene and to develop the characters. Remember, we talked about stage directions typically being in italics. So if we were on the stage and we were reading, okay, and it said Viola, okay, so let's say I'm Viola in a story and it says in parentheses, barks, runs around in a circle and starts sniffing the ground. Who are you? Right? So the part that I would do and act out would be the part where I bark, bark, and then I go around in a circle and I sniff the ground, right? That would be something that I'm acting out. I'm not saying those things. And then I would, so I go, bark, who are you? Right? I wouldn't say those things. Those are stage directions. That helps us pick up on who the character is and what they are doing, right? So it directs the actor or actress on what they need to do on the stage in order for the audience to see how the character is, okay? Then also characters in myths typically include gods, goddesses, or other beings with superhuman power. That means like things that normal humans cannot do, okay? So we're going to set a purpose together, okay? And I know that you're not there on the other end with me to set this purpose, but I want you to kind of think, okay, about what you know about myths and what you want to learn about some of the mythical creatures in this play, okay? So instead of writing your ideas below, I want you to tell me, or I guess you can't tell me, but I want you to think right now about what you know about myths, okay? Think about it, and if you don't know anything, then that's okay too. Now, it says, what do you want to learn about some of the mythical characters in the play, or in this play? Okay, so think about what you might want to learn about these characters. I'm going to flip to the cover of the page, okay? And then we see this character down here, okay? So maybe you're wondering, like, why is this woman's hair made of snakes? Who is this guy and how is he standing on a cloud? Those could be great questions that you are wondering and maybe wanting to learn more about. Okay, cool. So we've talked about the genre. We set a quick purpose. I hope that on the other end, you didn't just sit there. I hope you really thought about it. Okay. If you didn't, you should rewind and go back and just try to come up with something in your brain. Okay. Keep your brain fresh. Don't let it just like start to go to sleep. And then it's going to be super hard for me to get you back on Monday morning. Okay. Just exercise your brain so that we're staying in the exact same place that we are in right now. Okay. Or I guess before we went on break, and then we have an extended break essentially, but we still have to work and we're still at home, or I guess we get to stay at home, but we're still learning, right? So we're going back to virtual learning. I don't want to lose you guys. So I want you guys to take this really seriously because I feel like we have been doing amazing. Okay, back on topic. I said that we would talk about the critical vocabulary within the story, so we're going to do that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 critical vocabulary words, okay? So our critical vocabulary word number 1 is devised, okay? So devised, I'm gonna use it in a sentence, okay? And I want you to think about what the meaning of the word could possibly be, okay? The children devised a plan to stay up past their bedtime on Friday night. Think about it, devised. So the vocabulary word devised means, okay, so like if you devised a plan, you figured out a way to achieve that plan. So if the children devised a plan to stay up past their bedtime on Friday night, they figured out how to do it, right? Okay, our second vocabulary word, okay, is distress. Distress, and I'm going to use it in a sentence, and I want you to think, what could distress possibly mean? Okay, distress. If you are in distress, you are very, oops, oh my gosh, I just read the wrong part. I'm so sorry. I meant to say, I'm so happy I didn't spoil it. Erase what I just said. Okay, distress. The puppy seemed to be in distress whenever his owner left the room. Okay, so if you are in distress, you are very, and I didn't finish this part, but you are very worried and upset. Okay, so if the puppy seemed to be in distress when the owner left the room, that means that the puppy is worried and upset and probably crying, like, right? Or like pawing at the door. You could hear the puppy crying. I'm visualizing some sounds and like some imagery in my head of what is happening while that puppy is in distress, okay? All right, let's talk about vocabulary word, critical vocabulary word number 3, okay? Critical vocabulary word number 3 is odyssey, okay? I'm gonna use it in a sentence. Try to think about what the possible meaning could be of odyssey, okay? Use your context clues. When I was a child, a trip to the hardware store with all its fancy tools and equipment seemed like an odyssey. Odyssey. So an odyssey, okay, is a long journey that is exciting and eventful. So if the trip to the hardware store seemed like an odyssey, it seemed like a really exciting and eventful trip, okay? I'm sure that Viola and Steely feel that way about going to the pet store every time that they get to go because they get really exciting, right? And it's like they get to get in the car and they wag their tail and stick their face out of the window and sniff all the fresh air. And then they get to get out of the car, sniff around, meet new friends while they're in the store. And then finally they get to pick their favorite thing. They get to put it in their mouth, go up to the register. So seems like a really small event to us, right? But it's a long journey that's really exciting and eventful for them. Okay, so an odyssey, long journey, exciting, eventful. Okay, cool. Our fourth vocabulary word is destiny. Okay, it was Perseus's destiny to battle the sea monster and win the love of Andromeda. Okay, so think about destiny. What could possibly be the meaning of destiny? Think about how I used it in that sentence, right? It was Perseus's destiny. Okay, so if it was Perseus's destiny to battle the sea monster and win the love of Andromeda, It means that it's eventually what is going to happen in his life. So, destiny, a person's destiny is what will eventually happen in a person's life. Okay, cool. And our final critical vocabulary word is mortal. Mortal. The daredevil often forgot he was mortal and took careless risks that one day would cause him serious harm. Think about mortal. So, a mortal is a person who lives and then dies. Okay, so it's like any human on this earth is a mortal because we live and unfortunately we all eventually die. Okay, so if we think about it, okay, we're going to be talking about Greek gods, Greek goddesses, okay? And in these myths, or I guess in this myth, but when we read myths, gods and goddesses are not mortal because they live forever. They never die, okay? So, after now going over to that critical vocabulary, I want to show you what your reading assignment is going to look like for today, okay? So let's take a peek. And I didn't link it, but I have it right here. Here it is, November 13th. So let's take a peek, okay? So for your reading activity for today, okay, I have linked a YouTube video of me reading to y'all so that those friends who just would request or wish that I read these answers or these questions to them, it's there. It's like purely and solely for the audio so that you can hear me reading these questions, okay? Unfortunately, I can't press play right now because I have it premiering at 9 o'clock in the morning so that you guys stay on pace and do this only during reading time. But it's literally me reading these things where it says review the below anchor charts and reflect, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then I read these to you, which I'm going to do right now, but I just wanted to let you know just in case you would like for me to review a critical vocabulary anchor chart for you or read the question to you. That video up top is available for you, okay? So what you're going to do, like I just said, is you're going to review the below anchor charts. This is exactly the conversation that I just had with you, or I guess I was speaking to you at. And I went over the critical vocabulary with y'all for the story, right? So you're going to peek over this anchor chart, these two anchor charts, just briefly, okay? And think about the meanings and think about what we just talked about. And then I want you to answer questions 1 through 3, okay? So question 1, if you devised a plan, would you figure out how to achieve it? Explain. So what you're going to do is you're going to scroll up like we normally do. Think about the meaning of devised. Thinking about, well, if I devised a plan, would I have figured it out? Yes or no? And then tell me why, okay? Or how, or explain, okay? Then number 2 says, would a person be in distress if he or she or they saw something bad happen to a friend? Explain. Okay, so tell me, think about distress, the meaning of distress. Okay, scroll up here, think about it. And then I want you to tell me, well, a person would or would not be in distress if something bad happened to their friend because, and tell me why. Explain. And then number 3 says, if you were planning to take an odyssey, would you expect to be away from home for just a few days? Think about it. What is the meaning of odyssey, right? Think about it, then tell me yes or no and why you think that or how you know, okay? Use your anchor chart to assist you through this process for numbers 1 through 3. And then this is going to look a little bit different, okay? Down here, we typically go through a comprehension skill. However, okay, we are going to be talking about something that I feel would just be better to talk about on Monday while we are live. So I decided that a better practice for us today, okay, is going to be for us to go ahead and read Perseus and the Fall of Medusa in our My Book. Okay, so you're going to follow the link, and you may either have it read to you by clicking that play audio button at the top, or you may read it yourself. Okay, it's a short, simple, quick read. You're going to read, 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 keep on reading, read some more, and then boom, you're done. Okay, so after you have read or listened to reading, this is very important, because if you don't do this, you're not going to know the answer to any of these questions. Okay, so let's look now, okay, at the second half of our reading activity. So it says, after reading Perseus and the Fall of Medusa in your My Book, use your comprehension skills to answer questions 4 through 6. So these questions 4, 5, and 6 are all going to be based off of what you have read, okay? You are just going to think about the plot of the story and the events that happened, and you're going to reflect upon them. And yes, you may go back into the story to locate the correct answer after you've read it. So if you get to, for example, number 5, and you're like, man, I really just don't remember why the gods visit Perseus in Medusa's bedroom. Go back to your story, have it open, and look for it. Find the right answer. There are 3 very simple questions here for you, okay, to just basically prove that you have read the story, okay? After you are finished with this, you then, friends, are going to go back to the reading assignment and get your 20 minutes of MVRC done for the day, okay? Now, a friendly reminder that in Clever, you will need to click my icon first. That looks like this, Miss Callahan with a little light bulb over her head. Okay, and it says Miss Callahan's classroom. You're gonna click on MVRC, okay? You're gonna enter the customer code, which is 12675. You guys already know this, and it's written in here, okay? So 12675. Then you will do your 20 minutes after you set a timer, okay? And then after you are finished with MVRC, you will then take about 20 minutes to independently read on Mayan or Epic, okay? So if for any reason you do not get your MVRC or Epic or your independent reading done for today, okay, I want you to work on it after you are done with your writing prompt, okay? So I am going to show you really quickly what our writing prompt is for today, because I don't think it's super necessary to make an entire writing lesson out of it for today. Oh, wait. Yes, I am. Okay, so you're going to come back at 10:25 for writing. Okay, so I want you to do this stuff. I forgot that I do have a plan for a lesson. Okay, so follow the link, read Fall of Medusa, Perseus and the Fall of the Medusa. Okay, boom, you do that. Then you go to the Google form titled reading activity for Friday the 13th, November. Oh, okay. And then you're going to do your MVRC, then you're going to read independently, and then come back at 10:25, and I'll have that writing lesson posted. Okay. After that, if you finish your writing assignment, okay, don't forget you can do this, the MVRC and the independent reading after writing. Okay, cool. I will catch y'all then. Go get your work done, and I will see you at 10:25 for writing. Okay, cool. Bye, guys.